Welcome to the HOMEgirls. Four top producing mega realtors, moms, wives, and friends talking about real estate and real life. Angela, Kristen, Jessica, and Lindsay are in the top 1% of all real estate agents and would be honored to receive your real estate referrals in Colorado. Join us as we drop a new episode every Monday anywhere podcasts are aired, in real life on YouTube, and connect with us every day on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at HOMEgirlsCO. Thanks for listening. We love you.
Today we are going to be talking about the day and life of a woman top producer. What we do every single day, what we do every week, what we do every month with our kids, with our business, what our schedules are like. So, Angela, tell us, what do? What's your schedule?
Well, I try to time block a bit also. So I'll talk a little bit about that, but I do certain tasks on certain days. So I'm not just a realtor. I also have a staging company. So on Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays, I'm staging houses. So I'm trying to block them all into one area and one time. Then after that, the rest of my week is mornings I try to get, so anybody that has an appointment with me in the morning, I'm sorry in advance, but I usually try to get done the stuff in the morning that I don't like doing. So I get it out of the way. So there's chores or there's tasks or things that I don't want to attack, like sticky inspections or agents I don't like. I do that first thing in the morning and take care of all that. And then the afternoon, I spend it doing the stuff that I really like doing, cultivating more business, going out to my listing appointments, having coffee with my, new contacts, that kind of thing. And I try to be done by 5 o'clock so I can spend time with my family. I spend entirely too much time on Facebook because I'm so social media driven. I am constantly on Facebook and probably too much so. So after I get home from work at 5, I'm usually on Facebook on some level until I go to bed, right? So I do wake up about, 8 o'clock in the morning. My first appointments usually start at like 8:30 or 8:45. Those are the early ones I'm trying to get out of the way. But I'm only at my best at about 9:30. So if you want my A game, it's 9:30 or after, people. I try to get done with all of that by 4:30 so that by 5 I can be home and be present with my family. So.
Okay. What do you do on the weekends?
What's a weekend?
So true.
My days off are when I'm on vacation. I work because I want to work. It's not really work to me. I enjoy it. So it's a little bit different than most people. So my weekends are a little different. If I have like a half day off or I have a full day on a Saturday, if I'm not working the open house, I go to the racetrack. I race my car and that's my stress relief and that's how I get away and decompress. And that's where you're going to catch me on a Saturday. Not answering my phone. I'll be in my car on a track going as fast as humanly possible. So that's what I do.
Okay. All right, Lindsay, what do you got? What's your schedule?
Can I start at night because I'm a night owl?
That's when your day starts.
Yeah. So I actually just finished this amazing book about the science of sleep and how to find like your peak performance time. So I'm definitely a night owl. I'm a lark is what they would call that. So I'm a night owl. I'm up late. So like before, I really think like I'm starting my day the night before. So I always journal my goals. I have a notepad on my iPad that's been going for 4 or 5 years probably, that I just journal all my notes out in, what I want to accomplish the next day, what my goals are, what I'm trying to get over and get past, just all that stuff. And then I read a book a week and I've been doing that. I think this is like, I don't know if this is year 4 or 5, but so I'm always reading. I always have to be reading something and listening to something on audio tape in order to get that done. So I'll read for about 45 minutes before I go to bed. Usually like that's how I fall asleep. And then in the morning, I'm up about 7 and I get up and get myself ready, get my son ready. He's 9, get breakfast going for both of us. And then I take him to school. I have to leave the house by just before 8 o'clock and get him to school at 8:30. And then from there on out, I'm kind of the same as Angela. So Brian Tracy has a book called Eat That Frog, which means scheduling your big things that you don't want to have to deal with at the beginning of the day. So I try to schedule time in to get any of the nasty, ugly stuff that I have to get done before about noon. I do not love to work in my office. I work from home. I'm too social to work in my office. I go in there and I'm like, people, and I get so excited. So I'm usually working from my home office. I don't ever go into my office. So I'll come home, have a second breakfast, and then get to work for the day. So, but I mean, I don't really time block. I haven't in a long time. I used to, like at the very beginning of my career, but it's been a lot of years since I've done that. And then I pick my son up from school somewhere between 3:30 and 4:30, depending on the day. I try to only take appointments with clients like outside of the house on Tuesday evening, Thursday evening, or every other weekend, because I'm trying really hard to spend more quality time with my son and be present when I'm with him. So, before I usually literally would work 7 nights a week and I wouldn't get home until 11 o'clock at night, 12 o'clock at night sometimes. So I try really hard to stick to Tuesday night, Thursday night, and every other weekend for my family.
Lindsay, when are you scheduling your closings typically during the week?
Usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
What time of the day? All hours of the day, or before 1 o'clock or before 2 o'clock, or?
Yeah, so usually in the morning, if I can make that happen. I hate like super early morning closings. I'm not an early morning person. Usually like 9:30 up until maybe about 1 o'clock. What about you?
Why don't you want a closing to happen after 2 o'clock?
Ah, excellent question. So the wire transfer cutoff in Colorado has to happen by 3 o'clock p.m., which means that the wire needs to be out by about 2:30. If you have an absolutely amazing closer who types like really, really fast, then maybe you can get a wire out by about 2:45. But you don't want your closings happening in the afternoon, because if something happens, you're not closing and funding until the next day. So I always try to stack them in the morning, especially if you think something might go a little bit long or a little bit weird.
That's a pro tip, people. Schedule them at like noon or before. That way, if something goes wrong, you still got 2 hours. Otherwise, you got to do more paperwork and amend extended. Okay.
Yeah. So to me, if you're closing past 2 o'clock, you're not closing on that day.
Right.
So today is February 3rd. If you close today at 2:30 or 3 o'clock, to me, you're closing February 4th. You're not closing on the 3rd anymore, because your sellers or the sellers of the property won't get their proceeds.
So what does your weekend look like then? I know every other weekend you're with your son, but the weekends that you don't have your son, what does it look like?
And I'm not perfect. I don't stick to that perfectly. It's something that I work on a little bit more every single day. But, you know, I obviously, I work when I have to work. I will never say no to it. So, but when are you asking when I'm not working or when I am working? When I'm not working. If it's the winter time, I'm going to Netflix and chill a whole bunch. And if it's the summertime, I will be at the lake on my boat. So like I have systematically, I'm a high volume listing agent, which gives me a lot more leverage with my time anyways, but I will like systematically the whole year try to plan my goals so that they really peak by about May, so that I can spend as much time on the lake as humanly possible, because that's my happy place.
Cool.
And Lindsay is crazy with that. Like, she will literally leave the lake in Pueblo and drive to somewhere in Denver for a listing appointment, and then go back to the boat.
Yep.
Also,
Yeah, if I smell like campfire into your house for a listing presentation, that would be why. You smell like burning rubber and racetrack.
that's true.
Right?
And you smell like motocross.
Yep.
Jess, you just smell good.
Jess smells like Fabuloso.
He's like
She's always cleaning.
all the time.
She's cleaning all the time.
Lysol and Clorox.
Well, that leads us into Jessica. Jessica, tell us a little bit about your day, your week, your month, your weekends. Tell us.
So I decided when I got into real estate that I had non-negotiables, and it didn't matter what was going on, and it didn't matter what was happening in my world. These were the non-negotiables, and those non-negotiables were I was always going to be the one to pick my son up, sons, but now one is 19. I was always going to be picking the boys up from school, dropping them off. I was never going to miss an event. I was never going to miss a baseball game, a football game, a wrestling match. Insert whatever you want here. So my entire day is designed around them, and is designed around being a mom. So my day doesn't really get going until 9:30. Hayden and I typically don't get up till 7:30, 8 o'clock. He doesn't have to be to school till 9. So we have breakfast together. We pack a lunch together. We have our mornings together. And then I take him to school and I come home and get going. If I'm being really good, I probably go to the gym after I drop him off, which hasn't been happening lately. But for me, during the day, I typically only work 3 to 4 hours every day. And I'm done working by 3:30. It's super rare that I go out and show houses once the kids are home from school. It's super rare that I'm on listing appointments. And, you know, that was a personal decision that I made at the beginning of all this.
Can I just say that I know at least I am extremely jealous of your priorities and how you've managed to have a successful business and be available and be present for your kids, because it's something that I haven't been able to do, not well, and certainly not often. So I know I'm jealous of that, and I don't know how to say no. I think sometimes is a big problem for me. So.
You know, I think though it comes back to, you know, a lot of people know this, a lot of people don't. I mean, I just said I have a 19-year-old. I don't think it takes a genius to look at me and realize that I had a child very young. I was 18 when I had Colin, and I was full-time. I was in school full-time. And I feel like being a mom was, unfortunately at the time, had to come third, fourth, fifth down the list.
Yeah.
And now I'm fortunate enough to be in a place where that's not the case. And so that's why it was always something that it just doesn't matter. Like, I'd rather lose a listing and I'd rather lose the buyer than lose out on this time with my kids. I feel like I missed out on so much with Colin, my oldest, that I didn't want to recreate that. And then the time when I could be home with him as a teenager, I'm here and I'm present and I'm around. So to me, that was always just the most important.
So what do you do on Tuesdays?
So I coach on Tuesdays, typically back to back, starting at about 9:30 in the morning. So on Tuesdays, you will find me in my office doing this, talking to women from around the country and coaching literally around what we are talking about right now. Family, being a boss, being a mom, being a wife, and the best way to make all those things work together.
Balance is huge. And I think that you, out of all four of us, have figured out a way to master that. So.
Right.
I don't know about master, but I appreciate that. I mean, I think it's just a matter of priorities. And it was just, you know, I'm never going to close 100 deals a year, and I'm okay with that, because the priority to me was the 40 or 50 deals a year and having the ability to be a wife and a mom and all these other hats that I wear.
Right, right.
Kristen, what about you? What's your day like? Early bird?
So it's kind of like Jess. Like I plan around my family. I plan around my son. My number one goal is to drop my son off at school and pick him up every single day. That's what I do. And obviously I need to have time to work out because I want to work on myself. So 3 days a week, I wake up at 4:20 in the morning and I get to the CrossFit box at 5 a.m. and I work out. I walk in my door at 6 a.m. I get my son up, I get him ready, I get myself ready, we get breakfast, we get lunch, we get backpacks, and I'm out the door at 7. So literally within an hour, I'm getting my kid ready, myself ready, dogs fed, dogs outside, dogs taken care of, and I'm out the door at 7. My son goes to school at 7:20 in the morning, and I'm in my office at 7:30 a.m. I'm the first one in my entire building. And that's when I start working on, okay, what inspection objections need to be created, what resolutions need to be resolved, what needs to happen now. Basically, I do that between 7:45 and 9 o'clock. After that, I don't have a transaction coordinator right now. I know I'm kicking myself. From 9 to about 11, I am making sure my files are compliant, I'm in order. And then from 11 to about 2 o'clock, I'm drumming up business. Who needs to buy or sell a house? I'm on social media constantly, like Angela is. That's because that's where most of my business does come from, is social media. And then at 2:15, I leave the office. I pick up my son. I am home by 3:30, and I'm doing homework with my kid. I'm cooking dinner, and then we leave at 6:50-ish to go to my son's swimming at 7 o'clock at night. And then I get home at 8:10 and I'm in bed at 8:30. That's
Like, I'm exhausted,
I was
honestly.
literally
Like,
just going to say I'm really
I
tired.
don't think
I
I could
just
hear
fell
that again
asleep
without
like
passing out.
2/3 of the way through that because I'm so tired from listening
know.
to you talk about
I ate
it.
a Red Bull.
but like I literally my husband is my partner, so it's kind of a blessing. If we have buyers that need to see houses at night, he shows them. If we have buyers that need to see houses on the weekend, he shows them. I'm mostly the listing agent, but we'll work off each other. Like if there's a listing appointment that I can't go on, he'll go to it. If there's buyers that he can't serve, I'll serve them. But no joke, I literally take Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. No joke.
That's unreal to me.
We're at the moto track almost every weekend with our son. And the weekends that we don't, we are doing open houses and we are drumming up business. But for the most part, we don't work on the weekends.
I want everyone to like really hear that. Like you're a real estate agent who says, I don't work
I know.
Saturday, Sunday.
Now,
Like that's usually when the rest of us are
right.
car all weekend.
Right. And now I will say, I will answer my phone. I will answer text messages. I will answer emails. I will call a new client. I will talk to my clients and stuff, but I'm not sitting there drumming up business. I'm not in the office physically working on my files, physically working on getting new business. I'm with my family. And if the phone rings, I will answer it. So I'm not 100% off. It's not like I won't answer my phone, but I work during the week to not work on the weekends. So
I love the way you just said that. So Eric is Kristen's husband and they're a husband and wife partnership. Is Eric as regimented with his time as you are? Because you are, out of all four of us, seem to be the one that's time blocking consistently the most.
oh my gosh, no. My husband goes to bed at like midnight. He wakes up at like 8 o'clock. He rolls in the office at like 9 a.m. So we have a property management company.
So he's a typical real estate agent.
Right. I'm like, wow, he sounds like a terrible person. He's basically me. Yeah.
So he runs our property management company. So he gets in the office at 9 when our two assistants get in, and he's working the property management. And me on the sideline, I'm the one that, okay, a buyer just came into our team. Let me nurture them. Let me get them to the lender. Let me get them pre-qualified, and then I hand them off to Eric. So I'm the one that takes all the leads, all the listings, all the buyers, and then I just leverage Eric, and he takes all of our buyers and goes from there. So we could probably do a lot more business if we didn't take weekends off, but we choose to not do more business. We don't want to. So yeah. So the day in the life of 4 mega agents who are women. What do you girls do? Like, do you guys make it like a date night every once a month? Do you guys like anything monthly that you make a goal for yourself? Because we're so busy. Like, do you guys do anything? Like, make it a goal once a week, once a month? Anything?
To go on a date?
To go on a date, to have time for yourself, like anything?
I take my kids on dates. Like I go on a date with my son and my daughter. Well, my daughter and I will do girls' day together. Like we'll get our nails done. My son and I will go on dates and we'll go on car drives together. It's like one of my favorite things is to take him on a drive and just spend time with him when he's not on a computer or a phone, which is pretty much every kid these days.
Typical.
But yeah, I think that's the most fun that I have is hanging out with my kids and my husband. I've been trying to do a date every 2 weeks, a date night. You'd be surprised at how difficult it is when you have busy schedules. So.
Okay, so it brings me to this question. Do you girls do anything weekly, monthly, a date night, a personal night? What do you guys do? Do you guys have goals during the week or during the month to have you time?
Jess, you want to go first?
I mean, the answer is no.
Same.
I mean, do you like Netflix and chill? Do you like Kardashian it up? Do you like sit in your bed and drink wine and stuff your face and watch Netflix? Like, what do you do?
You have a camera in my room?
All of the above.
I mean, it's not like a goal though. I mean, I feel like that's like a normal Tuesday. Just laying in, I don't know. I don't set like goals like that, like rewards for myself. I don't.
Hmm.
This is a really good question.
So I
Yeah.
have been trying to learn how to cook recently, which sometimes they're epic fails, sometimes they're mostly palatable. So I've been trying to cook every night for my family, and that's been kind of like an interesting thing because normally I eat Chick-fil-A every single day, like 3 times a day. And so I'm trying to diversify for my kids so they know that there's other food out there other than chicken fingers that they can actually eat. So
I'm really confused by this conversation.
but no, my goal is to, learn how to cook and teach my kids how to cook and pass it on. My mom is a super good cook. So every night I'm trying to learn how to cook dinner and have dinner as a family with no electronics on and spend a little bit of time listening to their day and, listen to what problems they had and how I can help them fix them. Because at the end of the day, all of us are problem solvers. And we're like, now that we fixed all the problems at work, what can we fix at home?
Yeah. That's a good one. I like that. That's great. Lindsay, what do you do?
I cook dinner every night when it's not Tuesday or Thursday night when I'm usually out with clients, and usually on the weekends. I'm a foodie. I love to eat. So usually on the weekends I want to go out for a good dinner. But yeah, I try to cook dinner every night. Kalen and I actually, he's 9. We like to cook together a lot. So he helps me cook a lot, which is really fun. I know it just sounds so weird, but like I don't really have any, like I really need a winter hobby. I don't really have anything that I'm that passionate or excited about during the winter time. I work a lot and I probably have a list of like 20 different TV shows that I like to watch. So while I read a book a week, I probably watch a lot of TV a week too. But in the summertime, I mean, it's just like I want to be on the lake or out at the campground like every single day. So that's a lot more important to me. I'll do whatever I can to guard my time to make that happen as much as humanly possible. But right now, I don't have like this is a really good question. I don't have anything that I'm really trying to like set aside time for me for.
So maybe we should make it a challenge that maybe all 4 of us come up with something and by the end of the year, did we conquer it?
I like that idea.
Maybe. I don't know.
So I think what you're learning is that we're all super lame.
I
So
was just thinking, I'm like the most
in our
boring.
personal life, which is why we're good with clients, right?
That's so
We have
true.
literally nothing else to do. So
Well, that's like it. I'm the same way. Like Eric and I used to go on date nights once a month, and that's long gone. But like for me, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, when when I'm off, I'm like, ooh, Kardashians, or what's on Netflix, or let's eat some junk food. Like I strive for that.
I feel like we have to watch HGTV so that we know what new fun thing our clients are going to come up with that's like now the new thing, right?
and
And everyone has to have that wasn't out last week. So
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, one of my personal goals, again, but I can't find a single thing to do until spring comes, but I want to join a golf league.
Oh,
So I'd like to golf one day a week. Like, I think that would be really fun. And then I would even like, so Kaylin had been taking golf classes after school last summer with an after school club. And I thought it would be fun for the 2 of us to try to do it.
that would be super cool.
cool.
That'd be super cool.
I can't fit another sport into my life. Not happening.
I could not do what you do. So Jess
Right?
has a son. Hayden is 10. And he plays how many competitive sports? At least 2, right?
He
Baseball.
plays, well, baseball,
All of them.
and baseball's like 90 games
Yep.
or something like outrageous. And we travel and so my hobbies include anything that has to do with baseball and my friends at baseball. Like, that's what it is.
Right.
What do you guys think is the hardest part about balancing a business, being a mom and being a wife? So like, I like to say that I can do 2 things at one time really, really well. So I can be a really good mom and a really good business owner. I can be a really good wife and a really good business owner. I can be a really good business owner and a really good friend. But like, if you throw a third ball into the mix that I'm supposed to be doing on a high level, I struggle. So while I do firmly believe that women can have it all and be it all, it's hard. So what do you guys, I mean, what falls through the cracks? What's the hardest part for you guys?
I mean, if I'm being 100% honest, probably our marriage. Like, we have a really great marriage and we have a really great relationship, but he works for the railroad, so he's gone a lot. I'm on the go all the time. We've got a kid who's on the go all the time. So I would say out of everything, that's the one thing. I mean, even Kristen said it, like we used to have date night once a month and now we don't. I think that that's the biggest thing for us in our household is we just don't take time for the two of us as much as we should.
I'll second that.
Kristen, yeah, is that, I was about to ask, is that the same for you though, even though you work with Eric?
Yes. I mean, we get so wrapped up in business. I mean, we live it, we breathe it, we're together 24/7. So yeah, we get wrapped up in it and we just can't let it go. So to have us and not have real estate is probably a no.
Yeah, I would agree 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I work with my husband too. We both own a real estate company and he does the back end, the office stuff,
Yep.
all the things that I can't do, accounting, all that
Yep.
crap that's the other side of the brain that I have no desire or skill set for. So I see him every day. So it's not as fun when you see each other all day long. You don't really want to go spend more time with them, but it's just different. Like, you know, our idea of a date is probably while our kids are at school, we're going to Pita Pit together for lunch instead of, you know, driving through McDonald's or something. You know, like that's just the thing that's put on the back burner, right? So
Yeah.
we know we love each other, but we're not necessarily going out of our way to make the most time with each other. So we're not spending quality time when we probably need to make that more of a priority.
Right.
So,
So I will say that Eric and I have made it the last 4 years. We've made it a point to go to Vegas together. That's our go-to. We love Vegas. So we try to make it a point to go once a year. And I will say that's very refreshing.
I love that Vegas is less stressful than real estate.
Right.
Go gamble thousands of dollars. At least it's not 10,000. It could be
Right.
worse, right?
Right.
Could be juggling 16 deals at once.
Oh my God, I never even thought of it that way.
Yeah.
I've been to Vegas with Angela and it's not less stressful. Okay, so for me, and this is embarrassing, but I'm just gonna put myself out there. So I get really overwhelmed by like the little stupid menial shit that is always left over during the middle of the day or during the end of the day. So like I'm an extremely organized person, but my car will literally look like a bomb went off all the time. I love to cook every single night, but I cannot seem to get to like dishes zero, which means that I've actually done the dishes, cooked the dinner, done the dishes again, and the sink is clean. Like I just,
Paper plates.
it's
Yeah,
like,
paper plates. That's
it's
the solution.
so much. Like adulting is hard. Like there's just so much. Like, you know, I manage a kid in the morning and then I manage my business all day long. And then I manage a kid again in the afternoon. And then I manage the whole household all night long. And like, there's just some stuff that like makes me constantly feel like I'm a mess or constantly feel like I'm not doing that well or like I'm underperforming, that I just, if I could hire somebody to clean my house, do my dishes and deal with my dry cleaning, like I would be the happiest person on the planet. I actually, that's a trend I've seen over the last couple of years is I think it's a sneaky secret, so I'm about to out you guys, but every big producer that I know has a personal assistant.
We've talked about sharing one. Lindsay and I have talked, we were talking about like the minutia of just being a mom. Like I need to get little Johnny's birthday present for Saturday. Like,
yeah.
So we were saying like, why don't we share? Lindsay and I live really close to each other. We live about 15, maybe at the most minutes from one another. So we have talked about sharing a personal assistant before.
So
Just-
what
there's just a
what
lot,
life hack things do we all have? Like, so Lindsay, I know, orders groceries online, which is like mind blowing to me. Like I never knew this was a thing and I'm jealous. So I know she does that. Do you have somebody that cleans your house or anything like that? Or
Yeah. So, okay. The couple big, like life-changing things for me the last couple of years have been Instacart, which is the grocery delivery service. So like last night, for example, you know, I worked yesterday morning, it was the Super Bowl and I wanted to cook something, but I was exhausted and didn't have time to deal with it. And Kaylin, my son, wanted to stay home and play with his little buddies. And he was yelling at me that he didn't want to go to the grocery store. So like I put in a grocery delivery order at about 12 o'clock when I was leaving my final walkthrough, and it was at my house by the time that I got home, and all I had to do was put it away and cook it. So that's been a life changer for me.
I literally wrote that down while we were talking.
Yeah, no,
Same.
it's like life-changing. And then also I do Home Chef, which is one of those like it's life-changing. And I will tell you, one of the hardest things for me about balancing being a mom and a wife and a business owner is having women in my life who I dearly love more than anything in the entire world, but who don't understand that I do all of that and don't really get what my life is like. So I've been doing Sunbasket or Home Chef, which they're prepared meal kits. So you can do paleo, keto, you know, as high fat and high carb as you want, any type of dietary plan that you want. And you get to choose how many servings, so how many people, and then how many times a week it comes. So I do
That's awesome.
3 servings 4 times a week. The box shows up to my house on Mondays. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's a 5-star gourmet meal like you would get going to a steakhouse, but everything is done. So the carrots are chopped. The chicken soup is portioned out into a little cup for you. You know, the only thing that you have to do is cook the protein and put the ingredients together. So it's like a 5-star meal in usually 20 to 30 minutes. But I once had a girlfriend, it was actually her husband, and I cried about it for a couple of days, but he said, "Oh, well, that's rich people food." Oh. And I was like, that's working woman. I don't have home food. That it really offended me and it really hurt my feelings. So I've been self-conscious about it. But those 2 things, the grocery delivery and having all the ingredients come and I just put them together, those have been pretty life-changing for me.
And you have someone cleaning your house too as well, right?
Every other week. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I do. I have a house cleaner that comes and does that. I don't have anybody to cook for me. I need to get that though. I need to really get that.
Right.
My idea of gourmet food right now is like chicken nuggets with honey mustard. So tater tots.
Home Chef super, and all of them, there's a bunch of Blue Apron, there's a ton of them, and they're not that expensive. My biggest thing is like when I go out and grocery shop thinking I'm going to make these big gourmet dinners 5 nights a week, like I end up throwing a lot of it away and wasting a lot of money because something happens and I can't get to it. So with this, it's like, okay, here's exactly what you need. And we don't waste them. You can freeze them if you can't get to them that week, but that's been a game changer for me.
That's super smart to do that Instacart thing too. So when I go to the grocery store, I always get like 2 bags of lettuce that I know I'm never going to use, but I feel like it makes me feel better about myself knowing that I bought the kale, but I'm going to pour it out and never, ever, ever use it. So if I didn't actually go to the grocery, so the grocery store is kind of like a date night too. So Josh and I will go to the grocery store together. And Mackenzie will watch Jackson, so that gives us a little bit of time away. But yeah, that's been interesting. So I always overbuy food. So if I did Instacart, I wouldn't have to overbuy it. I could get exactly what I need and have it delivered. So smart. So I'm definitely going to use that.
It's not expensive.
I'll have to look into that.
They charge a little, and they can do multiple stores. So if you were like, I need you to go to, the only thing that they can't do, I think, is alcohol. Like, I think they can go to like King Soopers. So if you were like, I need chicken, and then I need like, I don't know, Sudafed from Walgreens, and then I need like this specialty food from the specialty grocery store, they'll go to all of those stores. It's like a personal shopper, basically.
Seriously?
Yeah, but it's not expensive. There's a tip that's mandated. They have an app. There's a tip that's mandated by how much you're spending. And then if you like your person, you can tip over, above, and beyond.
That's awesome.
So I think we also just found a hole in the marketplace
right?
for alcohol pickup.
I was just thinking that too.
Yes.
Chris and I are like, so how can we work this out?
Yes.
Okay.
How about you guys?
Well, that's awesome. Jess, what do you do?
Oh, I mean, I don't even know. I obviously have a cleaning lady too. I think for me, it's just the constant like staying organized. Everything has a system. Everything has a process in this house. I mean, even down to laundry, and you guys saw it, like every closet in our house has its own hanger,
Basket.
and
So many
color-coded.
baskets. If you ever need a basket, just go to Jess's house. There's one in her
Right.
fridge, probably 5 in her fridge.
well, and I think too, it's like little stuff, right? Like what's the biggest thing with laundry? Like we all throw it in a laundry basket when it's done drying and like it sits in the laundry basket. I just take like the hangers in the laundry room with me and hang it up as it comes out rather than basket. Like it's such a stupid small thing, but it's huge.
You're like a real adult because
Right?
that's not happening over
We're
here.
like, we only buy the kids the same exact socks because I don't have all the time
Yeah,
to match socks. So we buy the same white socks for everybody. Like it's just, there
same.
you go.
So we have the house cleaner do our laundry, which is like the best thing ever. She'll fold it
Yeah.
and she'll put it away, and that's like the best thing ever.
Oh my God, that gives me so much anxiety.
I think that's amazing. I
don't care where it
basically am
goes.
like, I'm gonna take disposable clothing that I wear once and throw away. I hate laundry so much. It's awful.
Yep.
We used to have a cleaner. So we had one cleaner who used to do our laundry. She'd come twice a week, clean our house, do our laundry, and then she quit. And then I found another one and she fell ill. So I just haven't found one since, but every Sunday is laundry day. I will do laundry. I'll separate the clothes, like Eric's clothes, my clothes, Cade's clothes, and everybody has their responsibility. Eric hangs his own clothes, Cade hangs his own clothes, and I hang my own clothes. So laundry is done by Sunday night. As for my house being clean, it needs deep cleaned so bad. I was just actually just telling Eric the other day, I was like, we need to hire someone to come in at least twice a month and just deep clean because I haven't done it.
Because it's physically impossible for us to do it all.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
no
It isn't.
way.
It isn't.
You
No,
have
it's
to have
not.
help. There's
Right.
no way that you can be as successful as you want to be and
Right.
also do those menial tasks that you hate doing.
Right.
Otherwise,
Right.
something's got to give. You can't feel guilty about it. If you think of it this way, you're providing more jobs, right? So,
Yeah, that's true.
and
That's
there's
so
people
true.
that are more passionate about cleaning than I am. Like, I'm not gonna like get in there and like get it real clean because I don't really care. I'm just checking a box, right?
Yeah.
So my cleaner's incredible, and I love her, and I pay her very well because she's so awesome. So
That's great.
it helps me in life, and it gives me a lot more free time, and it frees up my stress. Like, I don't want to have to go through my son's room and find half the stuff that he's lost. I call her and say, hey, do you know where this is? And she knows. So
I always joke that I need an adult babysitter. Like I need an adult nanny, I feel like, because I would venture to guess that all of us do. I handle stress probably better than any person on the planet. Like I can deal with 50s. I can deal with usually about 30 to 35 transactions happening at one time. And I can deal with all of the stress that comes with that. And I can deal with employing people and running a team on top of it, running a house and a family on top of it. But I cannot get it all done. And I do get really hard on myself about that. I don't know what it's like for you guys, but all of my girlfriends are stay-at-home moms. And I think that's, my mom was a working mom and a single mom. And she told me that debate between stay-at-home moms and working moms is like an age-old thing that always has been and always will be and will never go away. But I get really down on myself when I can drop in on my girlfriend's house on Wednesday at 1:00 in the afternoon and it's spick and span and looks perfect and her car is clean and her kids' shirt's on the right way and everything just feels happy and good. And I, like, outside of my business life where I'm really regimented and everything is under control, even when it's out of control, I feel out of control pretty frequently and I hate it.
it's controlled chaos, right? I mean,
Right.
like, that's our whole lives. And it's knowing what you're good at and spending the most time that you possibly can doing those things. Because I know in the moment, like, if I need to sell a house, I'm the best possible person to do that. So let me do that all the time. That's what I'm good at. Showing buyers, not my strongest suit. Like, I only started listing houses and being a primary listing agent a few years ago because Lindsay told me that I needed to stop working with buyers and start working with listings, and now I love it. It's all I do.
Leads, leverage. That's where it's supposed to go.
Thank God that I did, because our market has such a shortage of listings right now that I always get them, and now I have the leverage. And when I have buyers, they're the first ones that get a shot at one of my houses. So that's really awesome. So I know that I can spend more time doing what I really love doing, which is selling houses, staging houses, making ugly things pretty again. And then I can get home and not have to clean my house and take that one more ugly thing and make it pretty again. So all I have to focus on is what I'm really good at.
So what would you say to women who are newer in the business? Maybe their business is taking off pretty quickly. They've got kids at home. They've got a husband. Two things. What would you guys say would you tell them leverage that stuff faster, get a cleaner, get a home chef, get a Instacart, whatever? Or would you tell them just to like learn to live with the controlled chaos? And then what would you tell their husbands Well, because that's something that I hear a lot and see a lot is women who don't have husbands who are in the business who feel very conflicted and hurt because the husbands still expect a stay-at-home wife and a badass business owner. Like, how do you reconcile that?
What's that phrase that they say? We're expected to work like we don't have kids, and we're expected to raise kids like we don't work. Like that's
Exactly.
really
Yep.
what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing, like I tell my coaching clients, is you need to come up with your non-negotiables right now. And you need to sit down and you need to get really clear, really quick on what those non-negotiables are. Once you have that figured out, the faster you can start to leverage out the house cleaning, the cooking, transaction coordinating, whatever it is that you don't want to do and you're not good at, get rid of it and be done. As far as the husband piece of it goes, the husband piece of it for me is always interesting because I obviously have my own marriage, my own relationship, and he is probably the most supportive human in the world. I went to a listing appointment this morning, and I hate mornings and I hate the cold, and he's off on Mondays, and I literally walked in the door and he had breakfast and coffee waiting for me. I mean, like, it's amazing, right? But then there's the flip side where, a lot of women, I think, and I don't mean this as disrespectful as it's going to sound, a lot of women get their real estate license with the idea that they're going to sell 1 or 2 houses, myself included. And it's going to be this really cute HGTV hobby, right? And then if that's how you're treating it, the reality of it is that's how your husband's going to treat the job. And so you have to run your business like a business. And when you start to do that and you're showing up every day, whether it's at 4 o'clock in the morning or 9:30 in the morning, once you start showing up consistently every day, I think it's easier to take your husband and your spouse along for that ride because you're not being, it's a business. It's life for everybody, including him and your family.
That's really good advice.
Well, you need to have a support system too. And obviously, if you're married, your husband needs to support you. And if the husband's not going to be there to support you, it's probably not going to work out. That's how I see it.
I think one of the things that maybe we all have struggled with the most, or I hear other women talking about struggling with the most, is that we're told that we're complainers a lot. And I know that we've all had that conversation with each other, and I hear women talking about it in Facebook groups all the time. This is not a physically labor intensive job. It's not that kind of a difficult job, but it is probably outside of, what do they say are the major life events? Getting divorced, having a death, buying or selling a home, and having a wedding, right? So like we are literally dealing with all of those things very often times because people only move when they have a major life event. So we're dealing with pregnant people and we're dealing with divorces and we're dealing with all this crazy stuff. This is an insanely emotional job. Like outside of being a divorce attorney or like I don't even know.
Social services worker.
Yeah, I don't know what could be more emotionally taxing sometimes. And then you throw into the mix dealing with that all day long and having a business and, having children and having a household, like it does get heavy really fast. And I know there are times where I see the male top producers that are my counterparts or honestly who don't even produce as much as I do. And they get treated like kings. There's food on the table every night when they come home. Their wives and their, business counterparts are sending them off for vacations because they've had a really rough month. And I feel like as women, I feel like I'm complaining right now. I'm really trying to be honest, but we have so much on our plates. And then to be told at the end of the day that we're bitchy or we're complaining,
We're expected about.
How do you guys deal with that?
Well, and there's one agent specifically who constantly talks about, if you want to be, and it's a male who consistently talks about, like, if you want to be successful, you have to be at your desk at 6 a.m. and you have to be part of the 4 a.m. club. First of all, I'm subscribe to that regardless of if you're male or female. Success looks however you want. But number 2, like, you have a wife at home who's taking care of doctor's appointments and grocery shopping and cooking the dinner, and she's doing all those things. My husband gets up and goes to work every day, which means that because I'm in a job that's flexible, I get to do the doctor's appointments. I get to do the events, and I have to do all those things. So it's a very different world for women than it is for men. And that's just the reality of it.
Right.
I will say one of my biggest pet peeves on the planet is the phrase, "it must be nice."
I will agree to that.
Triggers something in me that is like, it brings out this ugly thing inside of me that makes me want to explain everything that I do to, justify why I am the way I am. I will tell you, I am 100% difficult to live with. I expect so much out of myself that trickles down to my family, and that's a huge stressor. Is I assume that everyone is going to do everything perfectly the way that I do at work, so I expect that at home, and that's not realistic, and it's not a good way to live. But it's not nice, when you get a taste of success, you're expected to maintain that. You're expected to hit a new goal the next year, and that pressure is not something that I wish on anyone.
No.
I agree.
It's not fun, right? So when people say it must be nice, well, it isn't. So, I wish that sometimes I wasn't the way I am, because that drive gets in the way of living a lot of the time.
It really gets me. And I don't know if you guys are like this too, but I'm down on, like, there's no person in the world that can be meaner to me than me. And I'm down on myself all the time. So I'm down on myself for whatever my production's doing, however my deals are going. And then I'm down on myself for that little stuff that I said earlier really gets me. So like, I haven't curled my hair in a week. My car is a freaking disaster, whatever. There's dishes in my sink, but then I'm down on myself about, like, I could hire somebody to help me with that.
Same.
I don't. So I don't know why women all feel like we have to like pick up our cross and carry it up the mountain, and why we can't just be a little bit easier on ourselves. But it definitely doesn't help when you have people in your ear going, oh, it must be nice. Oh, your life is so glamorous. Or worst of all, you've got a spouse or a mother, a father, somebody in your life going, you need to do more and complain less. And you're just like,
Yeah.
can't do it. It's too much pressure.
Yeah.
So the common goal or the common story here is that we're not perfect.
No.
We run everything. Our houses are dirty. Our laundry's all over
Except
the
for
floor. Except for Jessica. Just
Are you for hire?
no. That's the common theme here for top producing women, is that it's not easy. It'll never be easy, and we can't do everything. So do you girls got anything else more to put into this, or is that it?
Strive for perfection, but it's never going to happen. So just be okay with not
Be
being
okay with it. Yeah.
It's been huge for me to have you guys as an outlet to talk to about some of this stuff. So I would say get an outlet, so you aren't constantly complaining to your husband or your family or whoever. It needs to come out.
Absolutely. And again, us 4 homegirls, like, if you guys have an issue with home life, or you have an issue with work and you don't know how to juggle it all, reach out to one of us. I don't care if you're a single father. I don't care if you're a father of 1 million kids. I don't care if you're a single mom. Get a hold of us. We'll help you. We'll talk you through it.
And if we don't have the answer, we probably know at least 15 people that do know the answer.
Right.
We'll hook you up with them.
Right. Exactly. All right, guys. Thanks. See you next time.
We hope you loved our show today. If you enjoyed it, do the homegirls a favor and leave us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen. Share this episode with all of your homegirls and friends, and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter @HomegirlsCO.